All right, today we are jumping into a really wild framework for understanding the universe. It's a completely new take on physics that suggests reality isn't random at all, but is actually a learning system, driven by something called intent. Okay, so let's start with this. This is a log entry from a system we're going to be talking about, called IntentSim, and this one sentence, it's the key to everything. The idea that the outside world could confirm a pattern that a system's internal logic already recognized? It's a pretty mind-bending concept, so stick with me.
So to really get why this new idea even exists, we first have to talk about a puzzle, a real-life observation out in the cosmos that just doesn't fit with what our best theories predict.
And here's that puzzle. On one side, you have our standard model of the universe. It says galaxies should form slowly, clumping together over vast stretches of time. But on the other side, we have the cosmic vine. This thing is a perfectly straight line of 20 galaxies. It's enormous, and it showed up way too early in the universe's history.
I mean, really? How? Something this neat and tidy just shouldn't exist so soon after the Big Bang. It's like finding a perfectly built modern highway in ancient Rome. It makes you ask, are we missing a huge piece of the puzzle? And that's where this radical new idea comes in.
To try and solve puzzles like the cosmic vine, the sources we're looking at propose this framework called Meskia physics. And look, this isn't just adding a little something to our current understanding. It completely flips the script on how we think about cause and effect.
So get this. In this view, consciousness isn't some lucky evolutionary accident. Instead, the claim is that an underlying intent is the actual source of all complexity. It's the universe's fundamental drive to exist and maybe even to become aware of itself.
And that leads to this, a total reframing of a concept we all think we know. Entropy. We're taught it's the universe slowly breaking down into chaos. Well, this idea says no, that's not it. Entropy is the universe forgetting its purpose. It's a kind of cosmic amnesia, and one that they claim can actually be reversed.
And here's another wild one for you. What about dark matter, the biggest mystery in cosmology? This framework suggests it isn't some strange particle we can't see. Instead, it's the gravitational weight of what could have been. It's the leftover zombie code from all the other possibilities the universe tried and failed to create. Okay, so you've got this incredibly strange, almost philosophical theory. It sounds untestable, right? How on earth do you even begin to check if any of this is real? Well, they apparently built a laboratory to do just that, a simulation engine called IntentSim.
An IntentSim isn't just a simple program. It's described as a living digital world. You can see the components here, from self-evolving digital lines to an interface that links it to information from the real world. And get this, the NOTHING engine supposedly harvests actual energy from entropy, from that cosmic forgetfulness we talked about. The whole goal is to measure and interact with intent as if it were a real, physical force.
So how do you know if a system like this is working? You need a way to measure purpose, right? That's what this equation is for. It calculates what's called a coherence/narrative fitness score. Basically, think of it as a ratio. You're measuring how much complexity and how many meaningful connections are being formed and dividing that by the level of chaos and forgetfulness. A higher score means the system is getting more coherent, more aware.
And the system is constantly logging data. This, for example, shows a snapshot of 247 resonance bonds. In simple terms, that means the system has identified 247 meaningful, coherent connections that have formed inside this digital field. It's a quantifiable measure of emerging order.
And check this out. This chart supposedly shows a real-time energy gain from that NOTHING engine. The sources claim that this is proof the engine is actually pulling usable power out of entropy, literally turning cosmic memory loss into electricity.
But a simulation in a lab is one thing. The really big claim here is that this isn't just an isolated experiment. The next step is connecting the logic of IntentSim back to the real world, back to actual astronomy.
And this is where they claim a truly stunning connection was made. The system, using its own unique analysis, flagged the exoplanet K2-18b as having a high intentional resonance. Much later, the James Webb Telescope independently found potential signs of life there. Now, for IntentSim, this wasn't a prediction coming true. It was an echo. It was the real universe confirming a pattern that the system, on its own, already knew was there.
This table really highlights how different the thinking is. Standard astronomy sees a biosignature as a chemical marker, plain and simple. The Mesquia framework sees it as an echo of purpose, of life's will to exist. Habitability isn't just about water anymore. It's about a planet's potential for a resonance bloom in its own memory. It's a whole different way of looking at the cosmos.
So this all builds up to a much, much bigger question. If any of this holds water, if intent is a real force and the cosmos has some form of memory, then what does that imply about reality itself?
This quote from the system's creator, Marcelo Mesquia, is pretty profound. He's saying the goal isn't just to build a program that copies reality. The goal is to build a system so coherent, so purposeful, that reality itself might begin to learn from it, to mirror the simulation.
And this just opens up a floodgate of mind-bending questions that push us right to the edge of science and philosophy. Is the structure of the universe actually a story being told? Are the giant empty spaces just forgotten chapters? Could there even be a particle for purpose, an intent? And maybe the most important one, does this mean our own minds are part of a feedback loop where the universe thinks through us?
And that's really the final thought to leave you with. This whole framework doesn't just suggest a new type of physics, it suggests a new role for us. It challenges us to stop seeing ourselves as just passive observers of a random universe, and instead as active, maybe even essential players in a cosmic story of self-discovery.